Gave it to top of the arc. Here's Pip, guarded by Gillespie. Steps back, spins, fires! Woo! Pip gets! Let's go!
They get another crack. They'll go to their senior. And he lays it in. Two big buckets by Alpha Diallo.
He crushed it. It's a grand slam.
Down by 3. 5 seconds. Reeves for the tie. He got it.
Welcome back to episode 10 of Behind the Dish Sports. My name is Ben Bellotti. I'm your host. And today on the program, we have a very special guest, Los Angeles Dodgers prospect, Jimmy Titus. This was an absolute great interview. Jimmy was awesome to have on the program. So I hope you all enjoy, and let's get right down to it. I'm Ben Bellotti, and with my co-host, Robbie Cannon. And today we are joined by Los Angeles Dodgers prospect Jimmy Titus. So Jimmy attended Bryant, and he also played baseball in the NECBL with the Ocean State Waves. And then he got drafted by the Dodgers in the 22nd round last year, 2019. So very special guest, Jimmy Titus. Jimmy, how are you? Do you want to add anything else? Did I miss anything?
Not really. You kind of got it. Yeah, I'm just happy to be here. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on. We definitely appreciate this.
Of course, man. Of course.
So, first off, I mean, congratulations. Last year you got drafted. That's awesome. I'm sure it was a dream come true for you. So let me just ask first off, what was that experience like getting drafted?
I mean, it was crazy. Honestly, I've been working my whole life to do that. Ever since I was 5 years old, I wanted to play professional baseball. Like, I didn't even understand what it meant to be a professional baseball player up until probably I was in high school. But I always knew I wanted to do it. I always wanted to be on TV. Always wanted to do that kind of stuff. So, it was like a crazy experience. I mean, the draft days, I should say, were really, really stressful for me. So I knew I wasn't gonna get drafted on day one. Day one's like first, second round guys, legit. And I knew, especially with my knee injury and only playing 2 years in college, I wasn't going to be a day one guy. But I was expecting to go on day two. So between rounds 3 and 10, I was thinking probably 6 to 8. But any expectation you ever have going into the draft can just get thrown out of the window. It doesn't always happen the way that it's supposed to, especially when you're kind of on the cusp. I could have gone back to school this year if I wanted to. I would have been a junior again. So it would have been a little bit different, but I had one team ready to take me in the 6th round, and then they checked with their doctors, their team docs again, and they kind of said no about my knee. So that was I got that call from my agent, and it was kind of that kind of sucked. That was a big deal for me. I was damn, maybe I'm not going to be able to play pro ball. Maybe no one's going to take a chance on me. So day 2 passed, and I was all right, well, I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, whatever happens, happens. You go in with a number, how much money you want to get in the draft, and you go in with that, and you kind of stick with that, and then it starts to drop a little bit because you want to play professional baseball at the end of the day. So once day 3 rolled around, I was all right, I'm going to take slot money. Whoever can draft me can draft me. And after the 10th round, it's all $125,000
right
slot. So, and a lot of guys will sign under that. But I said, I'll sign for that and see what happens. And then it goes by so slow, man. It starts at day 3 starts at 10 a.m. And I was on my computer watching, doing nothing. I didn't eat, didn't drink, nothing. It's just watching the computer for hours and hours. And then once the 20th round passed, I was like, dude, I think I'm gonna go back to school. I was gonna go play in Cape Cod with the Chatham Anglers. I played with them for a temp after my freshman year. So I was gonna go do that again. And then probably 20, 30 minutes later, all of a sudden I'm sitting on the couch. I'm sitting on the couch with my girlfriend, and she looks at the screen, and I'm ready to turn the thing off. It's a 22nd round. I'm dude, no way. And she's like, oh my God. I'm what? I look at the screen and I see my name pop up on the board. I'm like, what the hell? So they didn't even call me before they drafted me, which most times they will call you and let you know they're going to take you. But I saw my name pop up on a screen before I even knew what was going on. I was like, wait, what? So I called my agent and I was like, the Dodgers just drafted me. He's like, yeah, we got it done. I'm like, what? And then all of a sudden, the scout from the Dodgers is calling me. He's like, hey, man, we just took you with the pick. I'm like, yeah, I see that. Like, I didn't think it would happen like that. But yeah, that was really cool. It went from like one of the worst days ever to like the best day ever. Because at the end of the day, like, it happened. Like that was my dream to get drafted, and now I just gotta take it from there. So
definitely. I mean, no matter where it was, the fact is you still can call yourself a professional baseball player now. Not me personally, but I had one kid in my high school, Mason Fioli, who just got drafted this year. Yeah, he was expected to go pretty early in the draft, and then he actually ended up needing Tommy John surgery, and he dropped. So a pretty similar experience to you, because it was you tore your ACL, correct?
Yeah, I tore my left ACL. Yeah.
Right. So that was in your freshman or sophomore year at Bryant?
It was my sophomore year. So I was a redshirt sophomore last year.
Right. So you play in the Ocean State Waves, right?
I did. So funny story about Mason. I played with Mason back in high school during some other events and stuff. So like I've known him, and we're pretty good friends, I'd say. So he was like, he didn't know what he was going to do that summer. He was contemplating playing with the Ocean State Waves, but he didn't end up doing that because he stayed on the Cape. But yeah, so like I know him, and I know like he was like someone who probably could have gone first, second round. Like he's one of the best pitchers I've ever seen. So
yeah, definitely the best one. You obviously have played on much more professional, higher levels than me, but definitely one of the best I've seen also.
Oh yeah.
So you kind of answered some of the questions I had in mind right off the bat, being what you said you were contemplating going back to school after getting that low. What ultimately was it? Just the fact that your dream was accomplished, or what ultimately was that main factor that ended up leading you to choose going to the Dodgers affiliated team?
Honestly, like I just felt that it was time for me to go. Like I felt like I had accomplished what I could have accomplished at Bryant, even in the 2 years that I was there. Like it just felt like for me, I was ready to take the next step. Because I mean, obviously Bryant's like one of the best teams in the Northeast, but I don't think that me going in as a 22-year-old playing against the guys that we'd face in our conference like constantly would have done that much for me. I don't think it would have been that big of a deal for me to go back. And like the Dodgers set aside money for like us to go back to school as well. So like this fall, I'm planning on going back and taking classes. So like I kind of have that. Yeah, I kind of have that already in the back pocket. So it's not that big of a deal for me. But I think the biggest thing for me was the fact that the Dodgers of all teams drafted me, and they're literally like the best player development organization that you can think of, that you could find. Like a lot of their players are homegrown players. Like they know what they're doing, especially on the hitting side. And obviously, I mean, that's pretty much why I got drafted in my bat. So it's basically like it couldn't have gone better. And then like after I signed and like the other two guys in my class signed, like our head coach left at Bryant. So like it kind of was like, okay, I think I made the right decision here. Not that our new coach at Bryant, he's a great guy and everything, but I think just the culmination of all that, it was just good that I signed. Especially the biggest part now in hindsight, I know I'm like dabbling right now, but
oh, this is great. Don't worry about it.
I'm just thinking like the whole thing that's been going on lately with like the coronavirus, like I might not have ever played professional baseball because of this. Like if I went back to school, then I probably wouldn't have signed. You know what I mean? Like, because I wouldn't have gotten drafted because there's only 10 rounds. And then everyone who signs the max is 20 grand right now. And I mean, I would just try to get a job at that point. Like, I mean, some guys will sign for that and want to do that, but like, I don't know. For me, it would have been a little bit different because I would have had my degree. I probably would have been doing something that would make me more money and just, I don't know. It's just like a perfect storm for me to get signed last year. And I'm just really happy that I did it. So.
Yeah, definitely. Especially considering what's going on now and the draft being reduced to only 10 rounds, one basically before it could kind of just go on forever.
Exactly.
It's awesome that you did decide to get drafted and go. So that's cool. And then I know you said one of the main reasons was the Dodgers system being them that drafted you. I mean, I've heard about it. I'm sure baseball fans hear about it all the time. The Dodgers have like this first class farm system. You know, you hear their name along with the Astros or the Yankees, a bunch of them. So like, what have you noticed? Like, have you felt that experience of like the first class system, like all the resources you have and everything? Like, what would be different about the Dodgers than another team?
It's just like, I don't know. I don't want it to sound cliche, but like the culture that they have there is just, I mean, it's unmatched. Like obviously like college baseball, especially for me, was more like, I don't know, it was more like our coach was the end all be all. Everything went through him. Like he was the authority. It was just him and like everyone else followed under him. But like when I'm with the Dodgers, like our coaches are more like on a level playing field with us. Like we'll bounce ideas back and forth out of each other. We'll try to figure things out where I'm doing it myself and they're guiding me rather than them telling me what to do. I mean, we just have so many different resources. Like when I was playing out in Ogden this year, we had like our hitting coach who I talked to all the time. We had our manager who would go and help us out do stuff. We had another hitting coach that would bounce ideas off of us. Like our hitting coordinator would come out like every couple of weeks. We'd have different coaches from different like some coordinators from like our fielding guy would come out. It's just like it was a constant bombardment of like different ideas, different people who we all respected and like wanted to listen to because they obviously had a lot of good information. So like just the sheer amount of information that you can get is good, and then the different like viewpoints from different guys is perfect too. Because like as much as some hitting coaches are great and everything, some of them don't really match up with what I may want to do. But like there are some other ones who have different ideas that I'd be able to work with better. So it's just all kind of like it's like a melting pot of information. You just get a bunch of different stuff. So it's just really good. And then I think my favorite part was going to Instructs, which was like instructional league. So we, like the newly drafted guys, flew out to Arizona and we basically got a taste of like everything. We got to work with a bunch of different guys. It was more like no pressure environment, just going out there, and they told us what we had to do, what we had to work on from the season. Because when I first got drafted, like they kind of just let me do whatever. They kind of just wanted to see me perform and all that. I performed well, but they had different stuff they wanted me to work on. So once I got the Instructs, it was like, okay, now we're gonna fine tune some stuff. We're gonna figure out what's gonna work best for you. And like when you have, I mean, I've worked with like 7 or 8 different hitting coaches. Like you get a different look every time. So it's cool. It's really cool.
That's awesome. So, obviously you're from Connecticut. You went to Bryant for college. You played in the NACBL. You played in the Cape Cod League. So you've been in New England pretty much your whole life. So what was that experience like going from New England then to you were in Utah for the affiliate, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, East Coast guy my whole life. Like I would travel and do stuff, but mostly on the East Coast.
Right.
Like the only time I ever went out west was for like school trips with Brian, like New Mexico State, Arizona, or I went to the area code games in Long Beach, California. Mm-hmm. So I did that, but like I never really got to live out there. You know, it's like it's different when you're actually like waking up and you're doing it as a routine. So when I went to Ogden, it was like totally different, man. It's just like the air is different. It's like the air is different. There are mountains everywhere. I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, I mean, where I live, I've got hills everywhere. I got trees everywhere. But then out in Utah, it's like flat, and then all of a sudden you see like mountain ranges. You're like, what the hell? So you have that, and like the people out there are different. Everything is just kind of like slower, more relaxed. Ogden's a pretty cool city too. Like a lot of like grunge people, I guess, like hipster kind of stuff, like a lot of breweries, a lot of stuff like that. So it's like, it's different than home. Like no one's walking around in like Lululemon stuff unless it's us, like the
Right.
baseball guys, you know, like everyone else is wearing like flannels and stuff like that. It's like 77 degrees outside. They're like, I'm like, what the hell, man? I'm wearing shorts every single day because it's just so nice. It was definitely a weird experience for me because like I'd never been out there like that. So it was cool though. I really enjoyed it out there. So
Yeah. I mean, Rob and I are both New England guys. He's from Mass. I'm in Rhode Island, so I'm sure we'd have the similar thoughts of you going down to Utah and living there for a summer, for a season. I mean, yeah, like I said, we did some research on you. We noticed that, two-time Gatorade Player of the Year in high school, and then unfortunately you got hurt your freshman year of college, but had a monster redshirt sophomore season, hitting 343 with 80 hits, 13 doubles. I read your profile on Bryant. You said you had your 12 home runs was the second most single season in D1 program history. That's awesome. And then in the NECBL, you were an all-star. So like stuff like that, how much do you think that attributed to you getting drafted? I mean, I'm assuming you said you were expecting to get drafted higher, so it was always on your mind a little bit, but how much do you think stuff like the little stuff like NECBL All-Star or just even going down to play in the NECBL or the Cape Cod League, how much did stuff like that affect it?
I think it definitely helped a lot. Out of high school, like obviously, yeah, I was two-time Gatorade Player of the Year, which was like, that's probably one of my proudest accomplishments.
Definitely a very big accomplishment.
The only other, I mean, I was the only one in Connecticut to ever win twice. So hopefully I can keep that for like ever. But I mean, I hope guys just keep getting better. And then I know a guy from Mass, Gian Martellini, won twice as well. So that was cool. And then I don't know. I was, I guess, a prospect coming out of high school. I could have probably signed if I wanted to, but it would have been for not a whole lot of money, probably like $100,000 or something like that. And that wasn't something that I wanted to do. I wanted to go to school because I was excited to play for Coach Owens at Bryant. I wanted to be a part of, like, I wanted to get that college experience. And I don't think I was like mentally ready to like be on my own and do that. So it was definitely good to be doing that. And then I don't know, like, I had a really good freshman year. I did horrible for the first half, maybe like the first 3 quarters of the year. And then I just, like, once we got to conference play, like, I just was really good. I remember being at Wagner and Coach Owens took me aside before the game. He's like, do you think you're good? And I'm like, yeah, I think I'm good at baseball. Like, what do you mean? He's like, do you think you're good? I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, why don't you start playing like it? And I was like, you know what, that's kind of a good idea, Coach. And then after that, I hit like 390 in conference. Like I just kind of blew up from there because like a lot of it is mental. You don't really realize, like, you can be as good as you want to be, but if you're lacking up here, then it's never going to work. So I always just try to go out there with like a smile on my face, like quiet confidence, just try to play the game. And that's what I did. Like, that's what I did in the NECBL. Like I was a Cape temp. So I kind of had like, I had the guys on my team at first were probably like, this guy like coming in late, like coming from the Cape, like, oh, he's probably going to be like a shitbag, I guess, like, pardon my language, but like that kind of how it works. Like, but I just went in there and just had a good time, like try to be the best teammate that I could be. That's only what I try to do. Like, I'm kind of a goofier guy. Like, I'm not always serious or anything. Like, I'll just go out there and have a good time because it's like, at the end of the day, it's just a game. So like I just tried to have fun. Like being an all-star definitely helped, especially because I came in late. I came in like probably like 15, 16 games late and still did well. So I had that under my belt, obviously, and like I had a good fall my sophomore year. Like I was feeling really good, and first game of the year at Arizona, I just blew my knee out. So and that was really tough for me because not only did I miss my whole season, I missed my summer season, and then I missed most of the fall going into my junior year. So like it was kind of like a big spot to miss. Because I would have been able to play on the Cape, show my talents against the best in the country. Because like if you do well in the Cape, then you're pretty much, I mean, if you hit over 300 in the Cape, a couple home runs, like you're going top 5, top 3 rounds. Yeah. So I was really looking forward to doing that, especially after getting sent home after 3 weeks. When I was out there the first time, I was like maybe like 2 for 20 or something like that. I think I maybe had 1 hit, actually. I might have been 1 for something, but I was like, I did horrible my freshman year out there. I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to go to NECBL, have a good time, and ended up being an all-star. So
yeah,
it's just
NECBL is NECBL is a great league for that too. I mean, also, it's, you hear about the Cape and it's the number 1, but NECBL is right there. I mean, I worked with the Waves last year as an intern. It's one of, I don't know, I'm assuming it's around the same culture because the guys don't really change that much around there. But I mean, it was a super relaxed bunch. I mean, just as an intern, I got to know a bunch of the guys. Were loose, hanging out before the game. So that atmosphere is definitely something you can like thrive in. It's just easy. You're literally just going out there and playing a game. So
exactly.
Yeah.
I loved the NECBL. Like I had such a great time. The Waves were so much fun. I got to play with my buddy Chris Wright, who got drafted this past year. He's with the Giants now. So like we got to hang out all summer, and then like everyone who was on my team, we all just became great friends. Like, so it was just a really good time. I really enjoyed it. I mean, I was living in Narragansett. Like you can't really beat that for a summer.
Can't beat that right there on the beach.
Yeah, so it's really cool. I definitely enjoyed Ocean State a lot. It's sweet.
How is like the minor league, like how is the minor league team different from like a Waves team, or like do you make the same connections as guys you were? Because I know the NECBL guys, they are like a tight bond no matter what team you're on in the league, and they, most of them stay in touch and all that. Do you get the same vibe from your teammates with the Raptors and Ogden?
Oh yeah, it was like, I mean, me and my buddy Ryan Ward, who also got drafted from Bryant, all that stuff, like we kind of joked that it was, I mean, it's just like summer ball with higher stakes, basically. Like you just go out there every day, like just try to have fun. I mean, more often than not, there are some guys who don't really want to be there, but they're still like there to just hang out. You know what I mean? So it's just like kind of just got to roll with the punches, especially when you're on an 8-game road trip and it's like day 6 and you have like 2 hits on the whole week. You're just like, dude, what is going on? Like, I hate this. But then you realize like everyone else is doing the same thing with you. Like you're on the bus, like all that stuff. Like it's just, I mean, you can't really beat it for a job. Like I'm playing baseball for a job. So it's like whatever, man. Like I just enjoy it so much. The only big difference is that half of our team is like Spanish speaking. So it's just like super loud on the bus and like in the dugout in the clubhouse, like everyone's going crazy all the time because that's just how they are. And like right. I kind of like enjoy that because I mean it's a lot looser. And like I spoke Spanish in high school and stuff like that. I took Spanish and I was pretty good at it, but I didn't do it for 3 years at school. And then all of a sudden, like I'm back and like everyone's speaking Spanish around me. I'm like, hey, wait a second, I remember a lot of this. And then I started practicing and stuff, and I got a little bit better. So it's fun. It's just like a big brotherhood, especially with the Dodgers. Like everyone's good because like everyone has such good development. So it's just like everyone's good. We're always beating up on teams. Like we're always just having a good time. So it's definitely sweet.
Yeah, Jimmy, I've got a question about, so you obviously went to Bryant, you were a decorated high school player. Why Bryant, and what were the other schools that you were looking at?
So I get this question a lot, actually, because a lot of people, especially when I like first committed and stuff, people were like, dude, why are you going to Bryant? I'm like, trust me, man. Like, that's where you want to be. Like, I loved Coach
People
Owens.
don't realize how good of a program they are.
Like, I loved Coach Owens. I loved like the business school side of everything. Like, I wanted to be close to home. My parents could come watch me play, stuff like that. I just really loved the culture. Like, they were really good when I was in high school. So it was like kind of an easy decision for me to like decide on them, but like breaking it down into what schools I wanted to go to. Like I had most schools in the Northeast were like ready to offer me like whatever. But like it basically came down to my top three were Bryant, UConn, and St. John's. I got rid of St. John's probably like a couple days before the end, and then it came down to UConn and Bryant. And UConn's right in my backyard. It's like 20 minutes away from my house. Like I used to go to UConn baseball games when I was a little kid. Like I always thought it was awesome. Like George Springer, Matt Barnes, like those guys. You're kind of like, hey, I kind of want to be that guy one day. Until like you actually get to the point where you might be able to do that, and then you're like, man, what do I want to do here? Because like I could have been the guy there, you know, like I could have been like the hometown hero and gone to UConn. Like everyone thought I was going to go to UConn. Everyone thought this, everyone thought that. It's just like for me, I was like, I don't feel right. It didn't feel right for me. Both great coaches, everything was awesome on both sides, but I just saw myself developing better at Bryant and like having a better time there, and just ended up there. And like after that, when I played with the Evo Shield Canes, like this huge, like big time summer team. A bunch of my friends who were on that team are now playing professional baseball, like drafted, like some guys are getting close to the bigs. Like there were a lot of good players on that team. So like I got a lot of exposure there. I had teams from down south like want me to decommit and go play with them and like sign my NLI the following fall. But I mean, I had some like attractive offers and everything like that. But I just didn't like, it wasn't something I wanted to do. I didn't want to decommit from Bryant. I felt like I had made my commitment. I had promised them that I was going to go there and do the best that I could. And I tried to keep my end of the bargain. So it was just like, it's crazy because like some of my friends have decommitted and gone to different schools and all that. And like, whatever makes you happy. But for me, I was like, I have to stay loyal. Like, this is what I want to do. This is what I wanted to do when I wasn't as good as I am now. So like, I think that this is what's going to make me the best player I can be. And I mean, who knows? I could have had a different career if I went to UConn. Like I could have had a different career if I went to Georgia or Clemson or whatever it may have been. But like I went to Bryant and now I'm playing for the Dodgers. Like I can't really complain about that.
Yeah, my other question, the one other question I got is, so you mentioned that when you were drafted, you were with your girlfriend. Who was your first call aside from your agent, a parent, a coach?
I'm trying to remember honestly, because like once it came out, my phone started blowing up, which is typical. Like all my buddies were talking about it. I was just like waiting for it to happen to me. So I think the first person I talked to was my high school coach, Martin Fiore at East Catholic. So like he has always been there for me, like always been a great guy, like always goes above and beyond with his team and everything. So like he was probably I think he was the first guy that I called because like he had always been pulling for me. He always wanted this to happen for me because he would tell me like I knew, like he always mentioned like the first time he ever met me, he knew that I was going to be a professional baseball player one day. So like, and that's always been cool, like to have that sort of like trust from your coach. And like, he just helped me do whatever he could to get me to that next level. So definitely owed a lot to him. So I'm glad that he did everything for me. And yeah, he was the first person I called. And then I don't remember who I talked to after that, but I do remember him. So
That's awesome.
That's great. Kind of on that same road, just, let's say a couple years down, hopefully sooner than that, the call comes, you get called to the bigs. Who would you call first? Would it be, mom, dad, both of them, if they're, landline maybe if you got it, but if you can only call one of them, who's the first call you got?
man, this is hard because it would be my mom or my dad, but probably my mom, honestly, like, because like she's always been more like in the background of everything. Like my dad was always taking me to games, always doing this, always doing that.
Mhm.
My mom was like doing my laundry, made sure that I was fed, like all that kind of stuff, and like she's always had my back through everything, and like she's like my favorite person. Like I feel like a lot of people can say that their mom's their favorite person, but like she is, and I would call her and let her know like okay, this is what I'm a real Dodger now, so you can like put that in your Instagram bio or whatever. Because like I kind of got on her a little bit because she was like in her Instagram bio, she was like, "Mom to LA Dodger number 40." I was like, "Mom, yes, I play with the Dodgers, but I'm not a Dodger yet. You can't be saying that." She was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal." Like now you can put it in your Instagram bio. So I definitely call her first. And then if my dad wasn't right there, I'd call him. So
Good answer. Yeah. So, I mean, your first season in minor league ball, I'd say you had a really productive, great season. You hit 296 in 40 games. So that's pretty impressive for your first go at it in the minors. So doesn't have to necessarily be this past year in the minors, but what has been your favorite, what's been your favorite memory that you've had just from playing baseball? It doesn't have to be professional or collegiate, it could be anything.
I mean, I would say the memory that I go back to the most, at least in college, was my freshman year. I hit a walk-off home run when we were down 8-7. And that was one of the coolest moments of my life. I think because with the year that I had leading up to that point, like the year that we had as a whole, like we started off the year 3-17, like, and everything sucked at the beginning of the year. And then we just started getting better and better and better. And then that game that we won finally pushed us above 500. And like, we finally got out of that hole. Like it was like that moment for me was like, man, like I just helped my team more than I ever had in my life. Like that felt like we finally got over the hump, all that stuff. But also it was like, I was in my freshman year, I was like, damn, like I really got to do a lot better if I want to play professional baseball. Like I'm hitting like 225 right now. Like I'm not, like, this isn't why I got signed. Like I was supposed to be the guy to come in, play shortstop, and hit 300 right away. But like once that happened, I was like, okay, like I felt like a pressure, like get off my shoulders. I was like, I just hit a walk-off home run. Like that's one of the best things that I've ever done. Like I feel really cool now. Like everyone's all happy. So I was like, all right, now I can kind of relax a little bit. And it's weird because I kind of had the same feeling when I hit my first home run in pro ball. It was actually my first hit as well. So that's one of the coolest
Awesome.
ever.
Awesome.
Yeah. Because I walked a few times before that. I struck out, like grounded out, whatever. And I was like, damn, I want to get my first hit out of the way. Like it was taking forever. And then, because I was just messing around with my swing a little bit because like still in my head because I didn't perform that well towards the end of the year in college. So it was like, I don't know, it was kind of in my head a little bit, but I got up there and I just said, I don't really care what happens. It's 2-0. I'm just going to take a big hack at it and send it over the wall. And I was like, okay. I got the hit and the home run out of the way. So I'm like, I'm here. I'm fine. So, and then the rest is history. It's kind of weird because the numbers from this past year with Ogden are almost like eerily similar to my freshman year at Bryant. 296, 365 OBP with the Raptors instead of 368, and then 500 slugging. So it's almost like they kind of mirrored themselves, which was cool. I'm just happy that I can say that I'm a professional baseball player now, and I kind of had a good first season, so that was cool.
Yeah, that's definitely an awesome thing, and I mean, I can't congratulate you or applaud you enough for it. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Hopefully your seasons continue to mirror your college seasons and you just grow more and more in success.
Yeah, I would love that. I wish I was playing right now and doing something to make my stats go up.
Yeah. What? So you went down to, the facilities are the same, right? Just separated minor league and major league, right? For spring
Yeah.
training.
Yeah.
So how is that first year down in the spring training facility?
It was really cool. I enjoyed it a lot. I kind of had like a mini spring training, I guess, when I went to Instruct. So it was like a very similar setup. But then getting down to spring training was like, I mean, every minor league player is there, so like it's crowded. You have there's like 4 different sheets of paper, like telling you where you got to go throughout the day, all that stuff. And like, you got to wake up at the crack of dawn every morning. It's like 6 a.m., get on a bus at 7 a.m. And then you're doing stuff until noon, 1 o'clock. And then it's like, all right, see you guys, like, get out of here. And you're just like, what am I going to do the rest of the day? But then it just blows by. And all of a sudden it's 9 o'clock and you got to go to sleep. It's just like, it's kind of a weird day. Like, you're just kind of like, you got to wake up right away and then just go to the field. It's not like the complete opposite. When I was in Ogden, it was like I finish a game at midnight and then I go home. I don't go to sleep until 3 a.m. and then I wake up at 11 or 12 and then just go right to the field. So it's just like complete opposites. But like spring training, I didn't get to hang out with any of the major league guys because they were on the other side.
Right.
I saw Kershaw throw a bullpen like 10 feet away from me, but that was it. And I don't know, it's just really nice weather. I mean, can't really complain about Arizona in March. Like, it was just really nice. But I was only there for like 8 days. They just sent me home. So
Yes. So you're back in Connecticut now?
yeah, so I'm back home. Nothing too crazy right now. Just trying to get all my work done that I can't go to a gym. I hit against my buddy who plays in the Marlins organization. I actually hit against him today, just up at our high school field. So
yeah, just doing everything you can in the circumstances.
Yeah. So
yeah. So I don't know, Rob, do you got anything else?
I don't have anything else. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for taking the time, Jimmy. I know we'll both be pulling for you to make it up to the bigs.
Thank you, man.
100%.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to do it. You were great. It was awesome to talk to you, and we both wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Jimmy. Have a good one.
No problem.
That was our interview with Los Angeles Dodgers prospect Jimmy Titus. Once again, I want to say a big thank you to Jimmy for coming on, taking the time to talk to us. He was an absolute great interview. We wish you nothing but the best of luck in the future. So be sure to look out for more content in the future. Thank you all for listening, and this has been Behind the Dish Sports. I'm Ben Bellotti. Thank you for listening.